It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Stewart Brewing Company, and this is a can of their Choc O'Clock. This is a chocolate stout coming in at 4.5% ABV in a 440ml can. I picked it up as part of the Lidl Craft Beer Festival of 2021, August 2021. This company is based in Edinburgh in Scotland. It sounds really good. The beer come in at £1.79 a can. Let's get it out into a glass and see what we get. A little bit of smoke on the can opening. Beer in the glass. Ooh, look at the colour of the liquid. Can you see that? It's pouring like a, it looks like a mild, a dark mild in the pour. But when it's in the glass, look at that. It's definitely looking like a stout. Perhaps it was the chocolate colour in the beer that produced that kind of, it was almost like a golden nectar-y looking liquid as it was pouring out. I mean, you can go back and watch it pouring again if you want, but definitely it was a golden nectar colour, but then it's more or less jet black in the glass. We got a one finger tan coloured head, good levels of slow moving carbonation. Let's get the aroma on the beer then. It looks, I mean, look at the lacing first and foremost. The lacing, the carbonation as you roll that, I'll be able to show you better when I've drunk some of the beer, but let's get the aroma then. It's that hazelnutty chocolate. It's almost like the flavour they use to make hazelnut chocolate bars. Biscuity Flavors coming through as well. Slight plummy, hoppy, plum aromas. It smells really interesting, really interesting. Let's dive into this one. Cheers, everybody. It's a really synthetic chocolate taste. Now, there's also a slight, I was about to say something, but I paused and I'm going back to the flavours because there's a slight kind of astringent bitterness on the back end as well. Got a good mouthfeel. It's creamy, it's rich. But it's very synthetic. Very synthetic. It's almost like, well, I've just sighed, haven't I? You just all seen me sigh. It's just, you know. Stewart Brewing Company. Their history is that they were fantastic brewers up at Heriot Watt, I believe. They actually sent me their first ever beer before they released their beers to the general public. They sent me this like pre-production version of their beer, and it was out of this world. This beer, you could tell, had been crafted to the highest order, and there was kind of like massive amounts of passion in there, in the involvement with this beer. The beer was tremendous. And to be honest, I think it might have been a red ale, might have been a hoppy beer, but I remember, first of all, they emailed me saying, would you like to try this beer? And of course, yeah, Yes, absolutely. I'd like to try this beer. And then I just remember really liking it. It came down, I think it had a bit of paper on the label. It wasn't even kind of proper, like, canned beer at this stage, bottled beer at this stage. It just had a bit of paper sellotaped on the bottle for me to read and work out what it was, with a note. It came with a note as well. But the beer was amazing. The beer was amazing. You could tell these people were top of their class at Harriet Watt, the brewing school up in Scotland. And to think, and you have to wonder, in the back of my mind, I'm realising that, okay, this beer is in Lidl for £1.69 a can. There's no getting away from that. They've gone in at a low price point. It's a budget supermarket. And they've chose to release this can of beer to this supermarket for a very low price point. My question is, does it damage the brand? When I was talking about like top of their class at Harriet Watt University, the brewing school, does it take away from that now? Does it kind of... Another question I should be asking is, should Stewart Brewing Company, which they had a terrific name, should they be putting their beers in Lidl for this price point? Because you can't use... this is a long story. I mean, I'm trying to get to the end of this story. I'm trying to work out how to stitch this story together. I've had beers where they've used loads of roasted malt, and they've been able to produce that wonderful chocolatey flavour in the beer, but with just roasted malt. But of course, roasted malt these days is expensive. It's not that expensive, but it's more expensive than £1.69 a can. So what the brewer's chosen to do is take out all that lovely roasted malt that would have made this beer exquisite for somebody with a really good craft beer palate that knows a good stout. Could have been an exquisite beer. What they've done, they've taken away from that and they've just added a load of synthetic, like hazelnutty chocolate flavours, and it just takes away from what the beer could have been. There's no off flavours, there's nothing wrong with the beer in terms of kind of when beer goes bad. It's not bad, it's not an off-flavoured beer, it's not a rotten beer, there's nothing wrong with the beer, it's just they've chose to go down the cheap option. The cheap option of producing this beer. And for me, I don't think it's the right option. Even though Stewart Brewing Company have got their brand out throughout the UK, and it's great marketing for them, I think I wouldn't, if I was in charge of this company, I wouldn't be taken away from the quality. People, when people think of Stewart Brewing Company, they think of quality beer. They had that like cartoony style beer when they first come out, like cartoon characters. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. It must have been an executive decision within the company to go, right, we need to get our brand out there now. This is the best way. Let's produce a cheap hazelnut, fake chocolatey flavoured stout, call it Choc O'Clock, and whack it in Lidl and get our name out there. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's the right way to go. If you want to produce a good name for yourself in the brewing industry, it's not the way to go. I was going to show you that lacing. Before I go, I was going to quickly show you that lacing, but it's too synthetic. It's too synthetic for me. It's a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers.